Okay. Hi! It's A again. It's my second video for today, which is good. I'm getting caught up, guys. Slowly. Very slowly. I'm doing this in between doing, like, reading a part of my textbook or doing homework or something, since that's what's spread out. It's kind of my actually do your work motivation. Do your work so that you can do a video and be distracted from work. So, this one is going to be all about Bear. And I feel happy I'm not the last one doing her. Peggy hasn't done hers on Bear yet. Only Pearl has. Which also is good because if I was the first one to read this, I would be completely at a loss to what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it. So I'm really glad Pearl has done her video so y'all, whoever is not one of us watching this video, at least gets an idea of what Bear is like from her. Because I feel like this is my second try doing this, and my first try was completely it was a mess, to say the least. So I'm hoping this is better, but it's more than likely not going to be very, like, easy to understand unless you're one of us. I'm sorry if anybody else is watching this, because it's not going to make any sense to you. I'm going to start with how I met Bear, and then go into what I understand of her and her personality, because it's very confusing. It is. Bear is the second person that, as far as how well I remember how I met them. Peggy was the first. Bear, I have like a general outline idea, not an exact first conversation to relate. When I moved to the area where everybody else lived and moved to the high school that everybody else went to my freshman year, right before freshman year. Like, it was in August that we moved into that townhouse. And I was actually supposed to go to Chantilly High School, which is in a different part of town, and all my three friends from middle school that I was actually close to all went to Chantilly High School, whereas I moved to the high school we ended up going to. So I was completely new, and in the area I knew, I think, one human from elementary school, which wasn't a good start for me. Bear and I both, I think, have that thing where we don't make friends very easily or get to know or open up to people very easily, but that's a later part of the video. So, but it turns out that my neighborhood that I moved into was right next door to Bear's neighborhood. Like, she was in a set of townhouses over there, and then mine were across this one park, were over here. And our bus stop was in the middle, and so we had the same bus stop for high school. And I actually got to know this other girl at our bus stop, Laura, first, who was a friend of Bear's. And I was talking to Laura, and then she introduced me to Bear at the bus stop and on the bus ride to school one day. And I can't remember my exact first conversation there or what I first thought of her. I do believe, though, it took us a couple conversations, or it took us a little bit of time for me to really open up and get to know her, because, like Peggy has already mentioned, she is a very tall human being. She's not that much taller than me, but I think I was a little shorter back then, so she seemed taller. I don't know how. She must look like a giant. She must look like a giant to our little midget Pearl, but she was still pretty tall to me. And she was a little intimidating because, I mean, she was still quiet and, like, didn't talk too much, but she was very straightforward about what everything she's. Okay, that's. Okay. So I was a little bit confused and intimidated by her at first, but then after I got to know her, we hit it off completely, and we were really close. And I didn't go to your house that much, but we used to meet up in the neighborhood or something and go to the park and talk all the time. Because I don't remember going to your house that often back when I lived there. I went a couple times, but I don't really remember. And it goes to show how close we got, how fast, because freshman year, halfway through freshman year, in January, I actually moved out of that neighborhood into a different neighborhood. Still went to the same high school, but was going to move to some places about a 5-minute drive rather than walking distance like our houses had been. And I remember how completely upset Bear was that I was moving, and she was really, really upset. I didn't want to move either, but she really didn't want me to move away, and I'm like, I don't want to move either, but at least it's not, still going to the same school, but we don't get to ride the same bus or see each other in the morning. So we ended up meeting everybody else in that library corner that Pearl mentioned. We all kind of ended up at that corner. all of us over time. That's how we all kind of hung out in the mornings and during lunch sometimes. But and my very first like real distinct memory of us hanging out in our conversations was actually when after I moved in my new place, Bear and another girl, Sarah, had come to help me paint my new room in my new house because since we owned it rather than renting, I could paint the room. And it was an unbelievably fun day. I am sure you remember that secret Harry Potter lightning bolt in the corner with the hearts around it. Yup. And then the best part was none of us had ever painted a room before in our lives, I don't think. Maybe Bear had. I don't remember. In any case, we weren't particularly perfect at it, and we ended up, especially me, ended up getting a bunch of paint splashes on the top of on the ceiling, like where the wall and the ceiling met. Got splotches there, and I was gonna be like, okay, I guess I'll go back later and paint it white. Oh, paint it white, Italia. Ah. Sorry, whole day of studying, ignore me. I was gonna paint it white and clean it up a little bit later, but then there I had this brilliant idea because the colors in my room were this aquamarine blue-green thing and this sandy yellow, which made me, because I liked like the ocean beachy feel of it, she went and actually painted little waves onto the ceiling at the corners and covered the splotches with it, so it looked like I was in the water rather than just at the beach, and it looked gorgeous, and I loved my room because I'd lay down and be like, oh, I have like the ocean water surrounding me. I was really in love with Little Mermaid back then, so I felt like I was a mermaid in my room, which is really lame, but it was really pretty. She did a really nice job. She's really artistic. All three of them actually are very artistic. Oh my gosh, I'm insanely jealous of all three of my friends for their artistic talent, and I want to like punch some of them sometimes. Especially when I see Bears, she does these beautiful. She made a cosplay. She made this great cosplay for Otakon, and she drew out the whole outfit and all the layers and pieces because it was this full four tiered gown, and I was just like seeing the pictures that she'd drawn out and like how she was gonna make this outfit, and I'm just sitting there like, God, you could be like a fashion designer or something. She's so good at drawing that stuff. Like she drew models and not of the people but of the outfit on a human body, which I cannot for the life of me draw a human body. I can draw a stick figure and it looks deformed. This is how much I cannot draw. And then there she goes like, oh, this it's gonna fall like this, and the corset's gonna be like this, and have these stripes. And I'm like, I hate you so much. Stop being amazing in front of me. I don't like you at all. No, actually, I love you and adore you and admire you a lot, but I don't like you right now. So that was my first distinct and one of my favorite memories with Bear. And getting to about her personality, don't ask me to put 3 words. I barely did this for Peggy. I can't do 3 words for humans. People are far too complex to ever describe anybody in just 3 words. It would never be enough. So I'm going to describe a part of her personality because Pearl's already done a good description. I'm going to part of her personality which I personally love and admire about her a lot. When people first meet Bear, just like Pearl said, they can be a little bit intimidated and thrown aback. And I think it's because it's very rare that you find a person like Bear who is very sure of what they believe in and how they what they think is right and wrong, and how they plan on leading their actions and what they plan on doing with themselves. It's very rare you find somebody who's quite that. She's not, I mean, she obviously has times when she doesn't know what to do or what to do with herself, and everybody has that, but she's far more, especially more than me, more um, direct, and she knows exactly what she wants, and she does it. That's the thing. That's what makes her different. You can know what you want, but being actually able to do it and follow through with it is something different, and she has always been the type which I have admired, that she will always be very straightforward and truthful to you. Over my lifetime, I've had a lot of people just pretend they were one thing with me, and then turns out they were another. And I would have wished that rather than trying to be nice to me and not tell me the truth, I prefer they just tell me the truth of what they really felt and thought, because then I would have been able to change my behavior or, know what to expect. But that's what you get with Bear, which you don't get with a lot of people. You get exactly what she thinks, exactly what she feels, and there's no haze of, oh, I'm just trying to be nice to you. No, she will, even if she doesn't like something, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff that she doesn't like about me, or she and Pearl have both told me about stuff. I mean, all three of my friends, I love all three of you for that you're very truthful, and just say to my face, but Bear is especially like that, and I appreciate and admire it a lot, because even though I say that I don't like when people pretend to be nice, or pretend to be your friend, or pretend whatever, like act one way when they leave another, I have never been very good at always doing that. She has always been like that, and I admire her incessantly. I love her for it, because I don't get that a lot in other places, and I really appreciate it from her. So, in that way, she can be a little intimidating for people who don't get to know her, because they'll be like, she's really in your face about it, but you know what? You don't find that in everybody, and that's really, really rare and really special. So that's what I really love about Bear. And there's a lot more to her personality than that, trust me. It's a lot. She's very cool. Super cool. I also don't understand how she can be, she's really, how do I explain this? I think Pearl kind of touched on it, says she's really girly. She really is really girly. And then she's also very, how do I explain this? The idea is only guys like comic books, but the truth is that's not it. Guys and girls like comics, but and she's one of those girls who is totally girly but totally loves comic books too, and I think that's really cool. In fact, we went and bought, one of the things we did before I moved out is we went to a comic book store near George Mason, and she helped me pick out a couple of comics to buy because I wanted to get into it, but I really don't know anything about comics at all, and I fail at, I fail at getting into these sort of things, but she was really awesome, and she helped me out, and I still have them. They're sitting up, they're right there, right? No, they're underneath the Walt Disney poster right there, and they were really good, especially the Iron Man one. If you want, you should borrow it from me. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. That was really random and off topic. It wasn't off topic, but it was really random. I don't know what I was trying to say. I wanted to mention the fact that we went comic book shopping, and I had a lot of fun. I don't know what else to. This is going on 13 minutes. Did I do everything? I talked about how we met. I talked about my first somewhat impression. Talked about your personality, just a little bit of it, but the part that I love. And I think that's all I wanted to say. I think so. I love you. I miss you a lot. I miss all of you. I spend a lot of time at home here too now. It's really bad. Oh, one last thing I wanted to mention. She's also just oh my god, so much of this is what Pearl said. She's also a really good friend. I remember, I got closer to, Bear and Pearl after high school, and especially after Peggy moved away, because I was closest to Peggy for the longest time, and I knew I was close to Bear and Pearl, but I felt like they were kind of their own friends, and they knew Peggy better than they knew me, and I just kind of felt like seeing the three of them and just kind of watch from the outside. But then I got to know them better after high school, after we weren't hanging out at school all the time, because then we would go and specifically hang out with them. And one thing I really appreciated, because I don't know if I ever told you this, but that time I showed up at your house, and not your house, at your apartment, at your dorm, at I think 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and stayed there until 1 or 2, and then randomly just left. I just randomly showed up. I just texted you. I'm like, are you up? Can I come over? And you're like, sure. And I'm like, okay. And I came and I hung out with you, and then I left. I just wanted to say thank you for that. It was really nice because I was going through, I didn't tell you guys a lot about what was going on with me in my life back then. I didn't really open up too much. So I was just going through a lot of crap and I just wanted to like get away. And you were really chill and didn't like, push or prod or figure out what I was doing there at 1 o'clock in the morning at your place. You just kind of hung out and we talked about, I think we were talking about like Kristen Stewart and acting and your dreams of acting and what was going on. And I really appreciate that I could just have a little escape from reality for a little bit and enjoy just being with a friend. Just plain out enjoying being with a friend and just talking and hanging out. And I really like that. Thank you. That's, I think that is all I wanted to say. I don't know. If I forgot something, I'll add it later somewhere. I think. I didn't say this in Peggy's, actually. Peggy, I love you too. I didn't say that I loved you in your video. I don't know why. I said it in the tags. But I love all my friends. You guys are amazing. I'm getting sentimental and somewhat more serious again, so I'm gonna stop now. My puppy decided to go and come sleep on my bed with me. And now he's looking at me because I'm talking, and he has no idea why I'm talking to the computer screen. Okay. I'm gonna do some more homework then. I'm gonna come back and do my video on Pearl.